Good evening and Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Nathan. This is Julie of Holistic Therapies NorthWest, and this is our second monthly live stream on YouTube. We might be changing this over to Twitch. We're not sure yet. I've been playing around with that a little bit, so we'll see how things go. Once again, we're pretty much not scripted. At least I'm not scripted, because we want this to be for you. We want you to interact with us and, to get a better feeling of, what's going on in your guys' life and what you guys need, and, try and make sure that, we as a business providing what we do, that we're accommodating you. This last month has gone by really fast, and so much going on, and yes, we are going to leave all of the politics out of it. So no politics in this show. We want everything here to focus on positivity and how to bring that positivity into your lives and how to make your lives and our lives even better than they are. And hopefully we can put a lot of things behind us in this new year and move forward and progress and take care of our communities. And a lot of that begins with just taking a breath and letting that stuff out. So everybody with me, just take a deep breath. Hold it for just a minute. Just a minute. Let all those negative energies just attach to that breath that's inside you. And I want you to just blow it out as hard as you can. As hard and as strong as you can. Just force all that negativity out of your lungs. Your turn. Come on, breathe in.
Yeah, I was doing it with you.
And out. And just force that air out. Just force it out. There you go. That forceful breath out is actually really important. Sometimes it can seem like you're upset. Other people might look at you like, what's wrong with you? So be mindful of, who you're doing it around. Or warn people, I'm getting the negative out. It's going to be weird. So, we run into that a lot where, some things that we do or say can be kind of misconstrued because we didn't really warn people about what we were going to do, or we didn't introduce it, or, the people around us are just very close-minded, in which case we need to take a step back from those people. And that's okay. It is okay for you to take a step back from anything that is causing your life stress or causing you stress. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to stay in a situation that is detrimental to you, whether it's, harming you physically, or you're in a job where, you get, a lot of negative attention. Get rid of it. There are better things out there. There are things that you can do, and it can be tough. It can be scary, but you know what? We've had to do that a few times. We've had to make some very scary decisions in our lives, making moves, and, just taking that leap. And that's what I want everybody to do this year, is I want you to take that leap and use this time to make yourself that better person. Also, if you're viewing this after, after we're done today, reach out to us in the comments. We look at our YouTube feed all the time, and we try to respond as quickly as we possibly can. You can also catch us on Facebook, and we even have Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. So, there's lots of ways to get a hold of us, and, we're here for you. That's why we do this. We do it a lot for ourselves because we want to be healthier people. We want to lead a healthier life, and we accomplish part of that by our interaction with everybody and our interaction with you. So we want to make sure that, if you have a question, you don't feel like, oh no, they're not going to answer me, or they're going to laugh. Nope, we're not going to laugh at you. We're not going to, hopefully, whatever situation, we might have a laugh together, because that's always fun. So once again, we have an hour on here. We'd love to, hear from anybody that's viewing right now. Hit us up in the chat because, like I said, we are mostly unscripted. So we are just going to blab about stuff. This is not a show that we're doing to try and sell our product. Even though we would like you to go to our site. But, we really wanted to make this show about you and about helping you and introducing you to things that we're doing in our lives. For instance, we recently put in a full reverse osmosis water filter system in our kitchen. That was scary because we put it in ourselves, and the instructions don't tell you everything. Like as the big tank that holds the water, while it's being stored, is gonna leak a lot. While it's getting the system charged and all that, and so we wound up having a lot of water that we had to clean up, and it was a little scary. But after doing a little research, it's like, oh, this is normal. This wish you would have told me. But the nice thing is that now we have nice, crisp, clean water. We can stop buying bottles, and we can really add that into what we're doing to improve our overall health, because it's really important to drink enough water. Not too much water, not too little, but enough. And you have to gauge that kind of for yourself based off of your activity and what you're doing. But the quality of water that you drink is extremely important as well, because if you're drinking water that has a lot of contaminants and that kind of thing in it, it's not going to do you any good. So make sure you are drinking really good, well-filtered water. And if you do decide to put in a full RO system, don't be afraid if you see some condensation or a little leak. Just be afraid if you see a big leak, if you see water spurting out somewhere, something didn't connect right. But if you see a little water, it's probably going to do that for a few days. Anyhow, I'm going to stop talking and let Julie in, because she's actually been working on something that she's pretty excited about.
Okay, I am just going to talk about a few essential oils that help me out when I am stressed or anxious. One of those being lavender. Lavender is always a really good one. Lavender helps with calming, anxiety, relaxing, and also sleeping. The next one is peppermint. And peppermint helps whenever you have the sniffles. It helps with a headache. It also helps with body aches and also some congestion. It can also help with anxiety. And then the other one is Mei Chang. And Mei Chang is a very unique essential oil that we came across. It is also known as Litsia. And it's really good for uplifting your mood and also grounding and just clearing your mind. And there are several ways that you can use these essential oils, but always make sure they are diluted with a carrier oil. One way is if you have a diffuser bracelet, you can just put the essential oil right on these little lava stones here, lava beads. And what that does is that will then get on your wrist here, or your wrist, your arm, and it just rubs up against, and it's just there to smell when you need it. The other way to diffuse essential oils is with a diffuser.
I will be your Vanna.
And let's see, which one would you like to try or use?
Let's do a combination of lavender and peppermint, because if you haven't noticed, my nose is a little sniffly, and lavender is always good to get rid of some of those jitters, because, you know, we're new to this, and
So you just take that, put a couple drops in the water.
I would tip this, but I would spill all over the place, so we need to get another overhead camera for demonstrations just like this. Yeah, one of the other things that's really important here when you're going to diffuse essential oils is, you know, like Julie said, to make sure they're diluted, but also not to overdo it. I've seen some people that, you know, their first experience with an essential oil diffuser, somebody put like 15 drops of peppermint essential oil in it. My first reaction is like, oh my gosh, I would not want to be in that room.
No, and definitely if it's going to be in a small room, peppermint is one of the ones that you do not want to put in a small room and have an animal in there, especially a cat. I'm not saying it will kill them, but it could.
Animals have a much higher olfactory sense than we do. So when you're diffusing essential oils in a room, you really want to make sure that they are either pet friendly or that your pets are in a safe place.
And the other thing that you can do to diffuse these in everyday places is when you're in your car driving. You can put them on, you can put a couple drops on the mats, on the seats. They also make these little car diffusers that you can put them on, and they go on your vent.
Some of the best ones are the ones that go in the vent, because it'll utilize the airflow coming through those vents instead of using a heating element. So you don't have to worry about having the car on or it, you know, overheating something. I'm not a big fan of the diffusers that heat the water or heat the material. There's just too much that can go wrong.
Yes. And then the other thing that you can do with the essential oil is you can just put them on your wrist. But as I said, please make sure it is diluted, because they can burn your skin and cause some really bad reactions. But please never put them in your mouth.
No. Why don't you want to put them in your mouth?
Well,
I'm usually the one that goes off on this, so.
It doesn't taste very good, but also there are some that can actually cause your tongue to go numb.
On top of that, you have to remember that essential oils are highly, highly, highly concentrated versions of the plant that they are named after. To give you an idea, lavender is made using that. That is the buds of the lavender plant. When we distill our lavender essential oil, we'll use about a third of this bag, which is about half a pound. And from that, we are usually able to distill about, I'd have to grab my book, so I'm just going to wing it. But we can usually distill about 40 milliliters of lavender essential oil. So you do the math. 40, it's essentially 40 divided by 230 some odd grams. And that's the yield percentage. So that's the percentage that we're getting out of there. And that's pure. And it can do a lot of different things to you if you ingest it. It can make you ill. Some oils are actually poisonous, and if you ingest them, they will do even more harm to you.
Tea tree oil.
Mm-hmm. There are some that can be used supplementally, and we're okay with that. But you really, really need to have somebody like a nutritionist or somebody that understands how the essential oil is going to interact with your body when you take it internally versus externally. And they are two very different interactions. If you have a bad reaction on your skin, you can typically wash it off and put a nice carrier oil on to help remove the rash. If you have a bad reaction inside, you're going to the ER. you hands down, you are not fixing that on your own. You're going to the ER. And we don't want that to happen. And we want everybody to really enjoy their essential oils. And it's one of the reasons why when we package ours for events and that kind of thing, we do a 10% dilution. Okay. So this little bottle here, there is 10% of that is the essential oil, and the rest of it is apricot kernel oil. And that dilution is still strong enough that you can add it into an unscented hand cream that you have that you like. You can make other products with it. It's not super diluted. There's some people that they'll do a dilution of less than 1%, and the rest of it is carrier oil, and that's just not going to do any. It'll smell pretty, but it's not going to really have much of an effect. It's also strong enough to diffuse in a diffuser, and you can also blend them really easily. And if you do use it right on your skin, apricot kernel oil is such a wonderful carrier oil. It's one of my favorites because it has so many good properties, nourishing properties for your skin. And it's also one of the oils that your skin will recognize as its own. So it doesn't just sit on top and stay greasy. It gets on your skin, soaks in, and it's gone. But you can still smell the oil, the essential oil. It takes a while for that to dissipate.
The only other thing I was going to add to that is there are teas out there, though, that have some essential oils in them, which are okay to consume.
Yep, one of our favorites is Earl Grey. One of the main fragrances you get from Earl Grey tea is bergamot, and that's usually added using bergamot essential oil, and sometimes even the peel of the bergamot itself. If you're ever drinking Earl Grey tea and you want to impress your friends, you can share that little tidbit of, hey, that scent, that really good flavor you're getting, that's bergamot. So what else has been going on with us? So we last talked to you in December. We had a couple of holidays. Hope everybody had a good holiday, had a good Yule, good Christmas, whatever you celebrate, it's all good. It's mainly about, sharing that love, sharing family, and I know that's been really hard with pandemic going on, but, with keeping that distance and not making that road trip is what's going to help us get through this. We actually had to cancel our planned trip in November. We were planning on going to see my mom, and everything was happy-go-lucky, and then things were really starting to look bad, and so we made the decision that, it's not worth it. It's not worth potentially exposing, people along the way, or getting exposed and, having to quarantine in a place that we don't live in. Because I can guarantee you that would be no fun. So we made that decision, and, we're all the happier for it, and we know that once we, get this thing really under control, things are going to we're going to be able to go and visit those people we haven't been able to. So I hope everybody watching this knows that, we're happy for you staying strong, happy for you wearing your mask when you go out, and encourage those that, aren't, too sure about this whole thing, just do it. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do anything to you except help get us through this whole pandemic and get us back to, being able to have events and being able to go places. And, I'm a little bit of a hugger. So it's really hard going out and, seeing our friends and not being able to just go, but, I'm looking forward to being able to get back to that. And, there's hope on the horizon with these vaccines. And, we understand that not everybody's going to be able to get the vaccine. There's definitely some sensitivity issues and some, if you're highly allergic to things or highly reactive, it's not going to be something you're going to be able to take. And that leaves it on those of us that, are able to take it. We have to, stand up and be a part of that solution so that, our more sensitive friends and family and people we don't even know are protected. Because that's what it's all about. It's about protecting our community, protecting those we come in contact with, and, especially being courteous to people we don't even know. You might be watching this and we don't know you, and we want to be courteous to you because that's the way we are. New Year's was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed up listening to music all night. We actually made it to midnight this time. It's kind of crazy. Last few years we haven't really made it up too late, but it's been okay. It's like, we'll watch the ball drop on the East Coast.
We did not watch that.
Get to bed early. But, this year it was really neat actually watching the show that they had at the Space Needle Live. Or as live as we could get. It was televised. But they did a really magnificent display, which was a lot of fun. And we hung out with some friends virtually, and someone played some music, and just tried to have as much of a good time as we could. So, new year, time to plan, time to get ready. I am not a New Year's resolution person. What about you?
Not really.
Mm-mm. And it's not because, they'll be broken. It's not because I'm going to go, I'm going to make this a resolution and never live up to it. I think they're too short-lived. I want to have some goals in the new year. And I want to, reach those goals and then move forward. And not have it as this potential thing hanging over my head of, oh my gosh, I have to do this because I resolved to do it for the new year. It's like, I gotta do this because I resolved to do it for me. Or I resolved to do it for our family or our community or what have you. That means more to me than saying, this year I'm going to stop doing this, or I'm going to, do this. It's no. This year I have goals that I want to reach, and I'm going to do everything I can to reach those goals. And they're goals, some that carried on from last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Yeah. But that's how goals work. You don't always reach them in your timeline. You have to adjust that timeline. And, some things just aren't feasible sometimes. It's like you might want to have lofty goals and want to do something, and then something comes up. Your car breaks down, or something else happens in life, and you just have to deal with that. So that goal gets put aside. And once things normalize, then you can go and work on that goal. So my point of that is, don't ever let not achieving a goal in your timeline dissuade you from keeping to work on that goal. Keep at it. Just because you didn't do it in the time that you really wanted to doesn't mean that you need to just give up on it. If it's something you really want to do, then, just set time aside. Work on it a little bit at a time. And guess what? Next thing you know, that goal, done. On to the next one. An hour's a long time to fill up when you're not scripted. But like I said at the beginning and last time, we don't want to script this. We don't want to have this about, anything in particular. We want this to be a conversation with you. And, it's going to take us some time. We know that, we're new to the streaming world, and it's taken us a while to get here. But, we've had a lot of other things that have taken up our time. We try to be really active in our community, and, sometimes that's more important than some other things. But, for this, we really wanted to reach out to internet land and say, hey, here we are. You may or may not know us. You may or may not know what we do. But what we're here is to help answer your questions about holistic living and holistic wellness. Because part of being healthy, as a whole, is not just taking supplements or changing your diet or increasing your exercise. Sometimes it's just sitting down and talking about what's going on, or talking about issues that you're having. And oddly enough, it's sometimes easier to talk to a stranger about those things than people you know. And so that's why we want to be here for you, and also, to help answer questions about products that you may have come across and you're not sure if they meet the mark of being a good for you, or somebody on another channel somewhere else said, hey, you should do this, and you're not quite sure about it. Well, go get some other opinions. Make sure that you are well informed. We actually just recently joined a group on Facebook that is all about tinctures. And there's a lot of people asking, a lot of questions that we had when we were first starting out and figuring stuff out. And I think it's great that people are, looking into what tinctures are and how to make them themselves. You've made a couple of tinctures. What tinctures have you made?
I know we've done ashwagandha, feverfew.
And what's ashwagandha for?
Ashwagandha is really good for hormonal balance, anxiety, feverfew.
By the way, feverfew tincture tastes awful. It's really good for treating headaches and allergies. It tastes awful. But luckily a tincture, you don't have to take very much of it. It's just, about a half a dropper full with some of them under your tongue. And you deal with the bitter, awful taste for a while, and then drink down some water and get it out of your mouth. But there's a lot of these tinctures that I would much rather take those than take something that long term is eventually going to erode my kidneys or do damage to my liver or any number of things that are listed on that little card that come in them. And we know that it's a possibility. Not everybody will have this, but you know what? I don't want to be the one that comes down with it, because that stuff is no fun. And tincturing is actually a pretty simple process, but there is a lot of measuring and calculation that goes into it to make sure that you're that you're coming up with the proper yield. And that's one question I see a lot is, what should the proper, mixture be? And part of that depends on the plant that you're trying to make a tincture out of. And some things you might have to do in multiple batches to get a good yield out of. But that's where the research comes in, and there's a lot of really good books out there on herbs and what their properties are and what the best ratio is for tincturing. I'm not going to list any of them right now because I don't know that I'm allowed to. I don't think anybody would really get upset with me, giving them a plug for their book, but we don't really want to break any rules here. Well, we're breaking a few rules, but we don't need to break those. But there are some good resources out there that will show you how to make tinctures and what that ratio should be. And hopefully in one of these video sessions, we'll go over some basic tincturing and help you guys make something that is beneficial and really easy. Because one of the things that I always say when you're first doing something for the first time is do something simple. Don't start with the Cadillac of tinctures, where you're doing double infusions or double extractions and all this other, fun stuff. It can get really confusing and it can make the process very difficult, and then you're back to buying tinctures at the store that cost $1 bazillion. That's the other nice thing about making your own tinctures, especially once you know what the proper ratios are, is that the cost of materials and making it are so much less. You can produce about a quart of tincture for half the price of some of the smaller bottled tinctures you buy in the store. And they're fresher. The other nice thing about making your own tincture is that it's not sitting on a shelf forever and ever. There've been a few places I've seen tinctures on the shelf, and they were made like a year ago, and it's like, oy. And the thing we have to remember about tinctures is that it is an alcohol extraction. Alcohol is a solvent, and it is going to break the product down over time. And so the longer that sits around, the less effective it's going to be. I think that's why some people have some bad experiences with some store-bought tinctures. Like, they might not actually do anything. Well, how old was it when you bought it? Compared to a tincture that you might make that takes 2-3 weeks to do the extraction. It's going to be a lot more powerful and a lot more useful. So we've got a lot of planning to do this year. We're not sure what kind of events are going to be happening. Once things start getting lifted up, hopefully we can see some of our events come back. But
the farmers markets are probably the go-to for right now.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun this last summer at our Aberdeen Sunday Market and the Shelton Farmers Market. We were so happy to find the Shelton Market for Saturdays because we were struggling. Mm-hmm. There were a few markets that came up on Saturdays, but they didn't quite fit in with what we do, and that's okay. We don't fit in everywhere. We're okay with that. So when we do find places that we fit in and where we're able to really make a difference and bring a quality to that event and to that community, that's what we look for, because that is it's so rewarding to be able to go somewhere and have people come in and talk to us and try some of our stuff, and then they come back next week and they're like, oh wow, you're back. I'm so happy because that whatever it was I bought last week, it was great. So like for us, it's not just about selling stuff. It's like I said, and I'll keep saying it. I'll repeat it a whole bunch of times. We're about helping you, and what we get from that is it helps us. So we're being a little selfish. So we got 25 minutes. What else do you want to talk about? We have one person viewing. Hi, viewer. I've seen the count go up to 2, so it's my bad, not saying hi. But hi, viewer. So glad you could make it. I'm also trying to get Julie out from the shies, because getting in front of this camera and doing mic stuff is... it's daunting. It can be really stressful. But we both feel that, it's kind of necessary to get out there and say hi. Putting her on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What was an obstacle you had to come over to get over in December? What obstacles did you have to get over in December? Was there anything that was really, tough to work through? Well, let me pose that question to you in Internet land. Definitely let us know, what obstacles have you encountered lately that you might have had trouble getting over or handling. We'd love to talk to you and see if we're maybe having some of the same obstacles, because that is one thing that happens a lot, is you might think you're out there alone with an issue, and nobody else is experiencing it or understands it, and we might not. But we might have friends that we can see that in and say, you might want to talk to so and so over here, or we can just listen and say, all right, just get it out, because that's one thing that helps a lot too, is just getting something off your chest, getting it out there.
I know there was one or a couple things, but one was not in December. I think it was... I'm not sure when we had to get glasses.
Oh.
But one was for me, I have to wear them all the time, but trying to get used to glasses, now not having them on feels weird. So, conquering the mask, not getting fogged.
Yes, we have finally had succumbed to having to deal with the foggy glass mask issue, which I actually make all of our own masks, and I might actually get some out there for sale. I don't know. I keep making them and then wanting to keep them, so not such a bad thing. But one of the things that I was able to accomplish there was to get some reinforcing pieces up that help block off the passage up here, because that's where the fog is coming from. It's like you breathe out and it comes out the top of your mask right here. So if you can stop it here, it'll stop fogging up your glasses. Hear that, everybody out there making masks? You can steal my idea. There's a whole bunch of glass-wearing people that will love you. So I know last time we talked about doing some little one-shot videos, and we completely dropped the ball on doing that last month. I am going to try and crack the whip a little bit on myself especially to get in here and do a little bit of recording. Because there's a lot of other things that we want to talk about and we want to show you. It's a little hard to do here because we have so much stuff and there's both of us, and so we have to have the lighting, and we're kind of in a tiny room. We're in our work room that we converted from our house. But it is a little cramped in quarters, so trying to do stuff and getting all the camera views right is being a little bit more challenging than I thought it would. So hopefully this month I can get through some of those challenges, and we can do a couple of hands-on videos to show you a couple of tips and tricks and secrets that we've come across, and pass those on, because you know what? They shouldn't remain secret. You guys need to know. Alrighty. Now, I know that we are trying to do this for an hour, but sometimes we just can't fill an hour. So I think that's going to be one of our goals this year is, with these monthly videos, is to, really try to fill in some time and get you some good information. If you're watching this after the fact, please go ahead and shoot some questions or shoot some comments in the comment area. We'd love to talk to you. And make sure to join in next time. And don't be a stranger. All right. Have a good one, everybody.